Tell me what this bitch said about me.
No, I keep deciding, did you actually read it, Kari? Like, should I actually read her book? Like, should I read
No,
it?
there's no fucking point in it. She didn't write it. She had some.
Okay.
I don't know how she wrote this crap because it's just not like what the really things that really piss me off are like.
She had Paris Hilton and a writer. She didn't even use a ghostwriter because no one is that stupid.
I really want to hear that.
The woman pulled on a latex glove and said, "Are you going to cooperate, or do we need to have these guys hold you down and pull your legs apart?" She's saying that this was students, the CEDU students were going to hold Paris Hilton's legs apart so Pamela Bell could explore her vaginally. I mean, that's just the first thing. It's the most insane. That would have never fucking happened.
No, we did get strip searched and had to squat down and cough, but that was woman on woman.
Great in strip search when you came back from visit.
Yeah, she took each item and handed it to somebody who ran his hands over each seam and then stuffed it into a bag. I vaguely remember standing there naked in front of all these people, shaking uncontrollably, my knees clenched together, my arms hugged tight across my chest. When she said cavity church, I thought it was a dental inspection. That the only context in which I'd ever heard the word cavity. Seeing that I didn't understand, Weasel Mug said, "We have to make sure you don't have drugs or weapons hidden in there." In where? Paris Hilton said. I couldn't make sense.
I was there live and in person. None of that happened. Number one.
She could not be saying what she was saying. This could not happen. Everyone else stood there and their faces were like, I don't know. Just bad, staring at me, snickering, they're shuffling their feet. These boys weren't much older than me. She's saying that boys her age were doing this too. The woman pulled on a latex glove and said, "Are you going to cooperate, or do we need to have these guys hold you down and pull your legs apart?" I hated the whimpering rabbit sound that came out of me. It wasn't my clever baby voice. It was genuine panic. "Let's go," she said. "Squat down." I squatted and tried to cough, but all I could do was sob and gasp for air. "Are you going to cooperate?" Or I hacked a hard cough. She felt around between my legs and then made me stand up, bend forward, and hold my butt cheeks apart while she groped inside me with her gloved fingers.
That never happened. Never.
And if that actually happened, you wouldn't describe it as "and she groped."
I'll put my life, my whole family,
it would be much more descriptive.
My whole family's life on that. That
very
never
medical
happened.
language.
No, it wasn't. Not even that part.
Honey, how about a surgical paramedic? That's not medical language. That's her fucking line.
Her in Pink's, Weasel Mug announced. Transport says she's probably the runner. Nobody wore.
When did we ever get in Pink's?
Never. This wasn't a fucking thing. And I've heard survivors tell this to her before. Like, "Oh, Paris, you must have a really bad memory because that wasn't a thing with wearing pink." And also they've said to her, "Why do you wear pink all the time now?" And she said, like, "Oh, they couldn't take it from me." And it's like, no, that didn't happen. I don't know how you take something from somebody that it just fucking didn't happen.
I'm not saying that she wasn't
That's the thing.
traumatized, but 80%.
You can't just lie about everything. Okay.
You can't exaggerate your trauma.
She gave me socks, no shoes. Paris says that she'd run around CEDU campus, no fucking shoes on.
I think of like A Million Little Pieces when he wrote his biography and then he fabricated most of it. Like
that is such
James Fry or whatever.
That is the best fucking analogy in the world. Is that Paris Hilton is just like the motherfucker that wrote A Million Little Pieces. No, that is a fucking perfect analogy. Shoes are a privilege you'll have to earn. I know she meant to humiliate me with those hideous magenta sweats, but pink has always been my power color. I tweeted it to I was born in Louis Vuittons and was about to post it on Instagram when I got a FaceTime call from Rebecca Mellinger, head of Impact at 1111 Media, and now 1111 Impact, the foundation I started. I could translate all my anger and sadness about the troubled teen industry into meaningful action.
Has any other like CEDU person published a book? Or like has
Yeah,
there
Zach
been like
Barnes.
has CEDU been featured to like clarify like not that it's like pro CEDU, but at least like an anti-Paris?
That would be me. That's me. That's why everybody hates me. They don't want. That's why they don't want me to fucking talk
Oh,
because
is
I
that
am
why
the
we're
one that was going to tell both sides of the story.
hashtag
That's
put
why they
Paris
don't
Hilton?
want me talking. How long did you live? How long did you live with Paris for?
I think it was about 5 weeks. And then I was up for graduation.
And during those times, that's the week that I visited. Do you remember if it was? You probably don't remember. There's no way if you remember if it was for an I and Me or a summit. Um, but you remember that week that I visited.
Yeah, and I remember the profits. And you know what? I I don't feel bad about them. I took the good that I could out of them because there's a lot of good. And whatever they tried to make bad, I didn't.
That is the exact same thing that Ann Peterson has to do with when she left working for Landmark. So Landmark is like, okay, imagine the profits, right? They teach that stuff pretty much still. Like it's not all of the profits. It's pretty much the I and Me. Imagine like if there was like the I and Me and the Summit kind of. You could go, you learn that in like a 3 day weekend with your fucking job. That's Landmark, right? So my friend Ann Peterson, she worked for them, and when she quit and she figured out it was a cult, she wrote a book about it, and she was saying that like a lot of people get good out of Landmark, and so they don't know why she's talking shit about Landmarks. They're like, I got so much of it. You must be just, you didn't get it, or just because you had a bad experience, don't take it from other people. It's that cult mentality. It's in every fucking religion. There's no fucking good religion. They're all corrupt because if you ever have a human being in that amount of power, they're never going to want to leave that position of power. Therefore, you're never going to be an evolved human being that's going to keep changing and becoming a better person. Right now, Chama Barbie is getting internet bullied by people calling her fat, and it's horrible. It's like, oh, Paris Hilton's assistants running around calling other girls fat. Like, fuck you. Like, seriously, fuck you, Paris Hilton. Like, there's seriously Paris Hilton's assistants running around calling her fat, calling me CIA girl, and saying, you know what I mean? It's like this is over. This is over. Like, I heard that, like, Jen, I heard there was some girl ruining people's lives, making people kill each other. There's been suicides over this shit. I knew that there was mean girl shit, and I was like, all this needed was somebody from fucking CEDU to fix this shit. Because I'm not, I was like, this is not fucking happening. I seriously, I said this to my fucking director. I was like, I'm done with this. I was like, I don't care what this takes. I can't save children everywhere, but this bullying shit needed a mean girl. I am the meanest mean girl when I feel like somebody's been fucked with. And I'm like, I'm
I
not
can attest
delusional
to
enough to
that.
think I can take out an eighth of the American economy, but I can. Our parents spent over $100,000 institutionally abusing us as children. They thought it was therapy. They're never gonna say that was bad money spent. Seriously, like Paris does not represent everybody. She doesn't get to talk about CEDU like this shit. Like this is gonna happen. We're gonna be okay. Because it's also when Paris Hilton came to the community, she came to the poorest people, the poorest demographic of any survivors. She went to the WASP. She went to people who went to like the poor. You know what I mean? She didn't come to rich kids. She didn't come to CEDU fucking people that are in her same
I was gonna say,
fucking.
why does she always claim Provo and not really CEDU?
No, tell us about over here. Tell us about Paris. Come on. Tell us. You know.
Which came in, obviously, they did the strip search. There were no males involved. That's illegal.
Yes. Nobody
Uh,
held her legs or said that they were going to hold Paris Hilton's legs.
she was not drugged to comply. They never drugged us.
In America, there were two sides of weird experiential, like experiment thinking, right? There's the Monroe Institute on the East Coast. They had like the Gateway Method and the Gate tapes. Those are all the Gate kids, like the pink drink and the people of the fucking dream them all world. That's on the right side of America. On the left side, that's us. These are the left and the right side of MK Ultra. A lot of doctors and brilliant, ideas or whatever. Everything from Skinnerism, which is a kind of behavioral modification that's MK Ultra. That guy went to Esalen Institute and like either taught, but also in there were Joseph Campbell. I don't know if you remember, we were taught about Joseph Campbell a lot at CEDU. Carl Jung, but there were all these post-Freud doctors that are like MK Ultra science doctors that all came out of the Esalen Institute. So, Stanislav Grof, that's okay, let me come back to him. Stanislav Grof.
Here we are. Okay.
So, Stanislav Grof he invented psychedelic psychotherapy, where he's from. He came to America to help us, right? When we cut out acid, when there was no longer a source of acid for his psychedelic psychotherapy, a year later, he was invited to the Esalen Institute in Big Sur to develop a way to fake an acid trip on the human body so that you could do therapy in that psychedelic way. So they would figure out that, like, it wasn't just keeping them up and not feeding them like you would think that they did with Synanon. It was that they figured out with sound that that if you could do something weird with like vibrations or sound, that you could induce the state of an acid trip. And the other thing that causes that is if you listen to a song 12 times. That's why our biggest receipt that we went through CEDU is the songs. Is that if there was 100 survivors, if there's 100 graduates CEDU and we had to all stand there and listen to 20 songs, most of the people would probably rip their ears out before half of the first song was played. Like, I mean, like, it would be an endurance test to see how long it would take. You would be seeing people go psychotic in front of your face. I kept on trying to get AI to figure out the connections that I could of MK Ultra and CEDU, because there is a connection, and it wasn't that there's something written down or money or whatever, or I even looked at that, like in Synanon, at the second Synanon location was a huge fucking tower, a microwave tower, and there was a microwave tower at CEDU. And I was like, that can't, but it's not, it's that in 1967 when CEDU opened, brainwashing was water cooler talk. They knew what that was. And that by the time that the profits were formed in the 80s, all that shit was a part of the world and everyone already knew about it. They were talking about like Est in Life and Time magazine in the 70s. But also like Dianetics is, everybody else had that book. When I put the profits through AI, it was just that, like, based on what happens and all this stuff, and like, because I was trying to get like, what is the connection? I'm like, are we connected to the gate? What is all the connection? And it was like, what is the connection between all these profits after you've analyzed them and the Esalen Institute? And it was like, bingo. It's like, this is where all that science came from. But the biggest one is Stanislav Grof and psychedelic psychotherapy. But also a huge thing that we didn't know is in the 80s, Linda Houghton was a staff that was given her own school called. You should look. I have to send you a Substack that I wrote where I used my own medical records to prove how horrible it is. Because I have my medical records from back then and now where it says that my dad got me institutionalized for making this documentary. I told you about that, right?
What?
Fucking Jen. I was invited to go to this thing called Survivors Prom like 2.5 years ago. After I started my documentary, I interviewed Jamie Donahoe, I interviewed John L.V., and I interviewed Heather Damien, my Dormhead, when I moved to CEDU. And then this woman named Lathrop Lybrook, who has never been through a single profit. She went to RMA for like a month, but yet her parents used her inheritance from her great-great-grandmother on RMA, so she spent her entire life just trying to sue her parents. Now she won that, and she still won't shut up about it, and she knows nothing about CEDU, yet she's the CEDU historian. She is my Joker. She is my Lex Luthor. So the backstory of why the community is so bad, and the whole Paris Hilton thing, right? Lathrop Liebrook invited me to Survivor's Prom, and she was like, Paris Hilton's gonna DJ. You can say hi to her again, whatever. And then I told my dad, I was like, Dad, I'm gonna go to Survivor's Prom. I'm gonna see Paris Hilton again, and she's gonna DJ. My dad said to me, those people called me. They don't want you at Survivor's Prom. I said, what do you mean? I already bought a ticket. Me and my brother went to RMA, and he bought a ticket too. So it's gonna be me and my brother going to Survivor's Prom. And my dad said to me, those people call me. They don't want you at Survivor's Prom. They say you're crazy. And he called 911 and said that he was my power of attorney, and that I woke up 3 days later and part of my state had never been. And I'm like, why am I here? I'm like, I was supposed to go to Survivor's Prom to start my documentary that I'm, see Paris Hilton. And she goes, oh, I know Paris and Nikki. And because I'm like very close to New York City. And it's like this gay doctor with a Hermes belt on and Fendi shoes saying that like he used to party with Paris. And I'm like, no, I don't know Nikki. I just know Paris. Like, I'm like, do you know the Breaking Code Silence movie? Did you know her? Did you see This Is Paris? And he's like, yeah. And a couple days, like a week goes by. I'm like, okay, so you're not letting me go because you don't believe what my documentary or whatever. And they're like, no, we just don't believe that you know Paris Hilton. And they wouldn't let me leave because of that. And so basically the survivor community either thought that I was the threat because I knew Paris and was making a document. I don't know what it was. They called my dad, told my dad that I didn't know Paris with CEDU, that I was crazy, that I was off my meds, and that I was not welcome at Survivor's Prom. And they threw me in my dad called authorities, like, my daughter's suicidal.
Bitch.
I could sue my dad for this recent thing. I just don't want to. I don't want to be the person that sues my own father. I mean, yeah, I could have the shit he just did recently, throwing me in a psych ward, saying he was my power of attorney when he wasn't. Like, it was all completely legal. They said that my father, I have it written down, that it says they didn't call my father, yet it says that he's my power of attorney, and it has his phone number on it, but it says that he was not contacted. But that also, I don't have any contact. I would have never, I've specifically for like years made sure that every doctor I'd ever had, my father's not allowed to have anything to do with my, you know what I mean? Because he tries to. He tries to break PIPA constantly. I've had to, like, no, like, I got a new psychiatrist and then walked in and being like, oh, your father sent me the file on you. And I don't even know what it is. But, like, supposedly I have a huge backstory. Now this person was all about read some bullshit file that a therapist gave them that happens to be my father.
Fuck. Then you need to walk the fuck out. Okay.
I don't have therapists. I've never found one. Like, I have one psychiatrist. When he just says, when I tell him about CEDU, and he's like, wow, that's insane. I'm like, you're the best psychiatrist ever. Okay, that's fine. That's because that's the bit, like, when medical professionals realize that, like, what we went through is unheard of, that there's no therapy shit yet. That's therapy, because you can't be like, what I would do in this case, fuck you. Well, if you just talk about it, fuck you. If you just we'll get over it, fuck you, because you can't get over this. There's no therapy for getting abused with therapy as a child. It just doesn't exist. Sorry.
I know I joked about it, but I really fucked up some therapists. Granted, they were not.
It's hysterical. It's horrible, but it's like, it's somewhat funny, because if I'm telling you what happened to me and you're gonna have trauma from it, what the fuck are you doing as a therapist? I have a friend in music, and I'd randomly like told them, like, oh, when I was young, I went to a place called CEDU, and he goes, oh my god, I'm so sorry. I've heard that. I'm like, why? He's like, well, wasn't that place like a cult? I'm like, how the fuck do you know that? And he's like, well, I've read about it. You know what I'm going to do for you? I want to do something before I forget. Hold on. You stay right there. I'm going to do something for you, Jen. Hold on.
Oh, if you make me cry, it better be a good cry, because I've been crying all night.
Okay. I'm at like 2%. I might be going somewhere.
Okay. This will be the last one. If you could return, don't let it burn. Don't let it fade. I'm sure I'm not being rude. It's just your attitude. It's tearing me apart. It's ruining everything. I swore that I'd be true. And honey, so did you. So why were you holding her hand? Is that the way we stand? No, 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 no. Was it just a game to you? And in too deep. You know I'm such a fool for you. You've got me wrapped around your finger. Do you have to let it linger? Do you have to? Do you have to? Do you have to let it linger? Oh, I thought the world of you. I thought nothing could go wrong. And I was wrong. I was wrong. I lost the words. But Leanne is gonna freak out from hearing this because she loves this. And too deep. You know I'm such a fool for you. You got me wrapped around your finger. Do you have to let it linger? Do you have to? Do you have to? Do you have to let it linger?
That was ridiculous. I'm honored.
That was good.
I recorded that so I can sleep to that.
We taped for that's a really good start. We definitely got a good first episode. We met Blanda and Trauma Barbie.
I
Introductory,
really
yeah.
didn't think I was Blanda until I read it and I was like, oh, you
You are
motherfucker.
Blanda. It's horrible. It's she does not
You
have to
are
speak for us.
Blanda.
You are Blanda, and it's not. It's horrible. Like it's not. And Katie was because Katie's like, oh, I think Kari's Blanda, and I'm like, all right, I fake myself read it. And I was like, you should have never let me read this shit. I love you. I love you for doing this. We barely got to you, but you were my co-host. You're not necessarily the first interview. You're just going to be my co-host. This is iKari and Trauma Barbie signing off with Blanda. That was iKari.
It's gonna be beautiful.
All right.
Bitches!